Welcome to the Riggs Vintage Mazda podcast. I'm Riggsy, owner of Riggs Vintage Mazda. RVM supplies used vintage Mazda parts worldwide. In 2024, we've shipped to 48 countries. For all of your parts inquiries and needs, please see the link in the description below, which will take you to our website. And from there, we have links to our eBay store, Facebook pages, reviews, and general information about us. If you're having trouble finding that rare part for your Mazda, then please reach out and we will see what we can do. Moving forward with this channel, our goal is to bring the worldwide Mazda Rotary community together. To the best of our ability, we would like to make everyone aware of the vast amount of worldwide knowledge there is to be shared amongst enthusiasts. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. Today we have a guest that hails from a small seaside town of Bulli, New South Wales, Australia. Now residing in Ontario, Canada. He is a father, a husband, and an amateur boxing champion, and a skip rope extraordinaire. He owns one of the most impressive Mazda Rotary collections in North America. His Mazda Museum has appeared in Haggerty magazine and on various other high-profile sites. Known by some as the Rotary Godfather of Eastern Canada, he services the greater Ontario community from his brand new workshop right here in Guelph. If you have an issue with your rotary engine or are searching for those rare parts, he welcomes local walk-in customers and messages from worldwide enthusiasts. People are continuously amazed at his output, his production, and the sheer volume he can get through in a day. This guy does not have an off switch. He suffers from massive amounts of FOMO and loves to share a good yarn. Like myself, he has let all things Mazda Rotary related completely consume him. I'd like to introduce the owner of AUSCAN Industries, Duncan Stewart Wood.
G'day, mate.
Yeah,
thanks very much.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show,
Thanks
man.
for coming, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This place is amazing.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a tour of the parameter and all the cars in an upcoming episode.
Yeah, next time. I don't think we're going to get to that this time around, but
future.
yeah, you're welcome anytime.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Well, let's get straight to it. Where did it all start for you? Give us a bit of a background of your love for the rotary engine.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start with where it came from in cars in general.
Yeah.
Would be just because I always liked cars as a kid, remote control cars, matchbox cars, and it's just a real car car enthusiast. Dad had a Triumph GT6, which, you know, I always saw the pictures of mum and dad with the Triumph GT6. I thought that was cool, like red and a sports car back in the day. I built a lot of other cars growing up and stuffed around with cars like not Mazdas. So I was always into cars.
Yeah, into the automotive scene, yeah.
Always knowing about a story where my mum put a $1,000 deposit on a 1985 RX-7.
Nice.
Yeah, she was going to buy one brand new with my dad. And she really wanted a sports car. Had to be red, had to have grey cloth interior. She couldn't buy it in the end because she found out she was pregnant with me. So they actually went back to Mazda.
So it all started in the womb, eh?
Yeah, it all started from ground zero, eh? So mum and dad went back to Mazda knowing that she was pregnant now. After already having the deposit on the car, got their deposit back, bought a family car. So she never got that. She actually got a red Mitsubishi Nimbus with grey cloth interior.
Downgrade.
So she got the same thing.
Massive downgrade.
Massive. But she got the same thing in a van, you know? And it was 5-speed. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I remember that car growing up,
Yeah.
knowing that she didn't get the sports car.
Yeah.
From there, I used to race in a Huntley hill climb. So it was a hill climb race. It was only a 30-second hill.
In Australia and New South Wales?
In Australia and New South Wales, not far from Bulli.
Yeah.
So I used to drive an LCXU1. So it was 1970 Tirana, triple carb, 6-cylinder, all that.
Yeah.
And there used to be a guy that would show up in a white Mazda R100.
For those of you viewers that don't know what a Tirana is, it's made by Holden.
Yeah, Holden
Australian
Tirana.
brand.
1970 Holden Tirana,
Yeah.
So I was right into the Holdens. I had all sorts of Holdens, never had any Mazdas.
Yeah.
And I built lots of them, like V8 Monaros, 6-cylinder Tiranas, all the
HQs, Kingswoods.
had all those, you know.
So this little R100 turned up, eh?
Yeah. So this little R100 turned up.
Running what?
A 10A, a 1 litre 10A, stock manual 10A R100.
In a hill climb.
In a hill climb.
Wow.
And I was amazed. It wasn't fast. It wasn't as fast as the Tirana that I was driving. Not even close.
Zippy though.
But it was cool to see this tiny little engine that I had not really paid too much attention to growing up, because there was none of my immediate friends or family or neighbours that were into rotaries. It's kind of why I got into something a little different. But it was so cool to watch this small little engine.
High revving.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Racing up this mountain, I just couldn't believe that it was such a small, compact, basic motor.
And you're intrigued. And you
I was very intrigued.
I've got to look into this a little more.
I was very intrigued knowing that this was the engine my mum never got. My family would have been a rotary family if my mum had have ended up with that sports car, but she never got it because of me. Which is okay, I guess.
The 10A though, the giant killer.
Yeah, it was just it was so cool. So I watched this 10A race up the hill, and I was always addicted to it. I always thought about it, you know. Then I met other people. Obviously, there was people that I knew that had rotaries. There were people that not family members, but all mates some mates that got them, or mates of mates that got them. So I was always intrigued, very intrigued, and I always knew them as this different motor that was unreliable and made lots of power and was cool and wasn't a piston engine.
What year is this? Are we talking here now?
This year would have been around. Let's think about that for a minute. It would have been. I was around 20. Yeah, I was about 20 years old. Yeah, 19 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, it might have been 19 even. Yeah.
That's a rare car. That's a rare car, that R100.
Yeah, really, really rare. Yeah. So going from there, I was just obviously intrigued. Couldn't believe it. Then when I had a house up in Wilton, I moved from Bulli. I moved up into Wilton, and my next door neighbour was a New Zealander who saw me with Holdens and like Monaros, coupe Monaros and Tiranas and Kingswoods and Commodores, VK Commodores, VH Commodores. And one day he rang me up or came over and he says, go and buy this car. He says, you've got to buy this car. He goes, it's a really good deal. And it was a 1981 or 1980 model 323 sedan.
How many rotary stories start with a Kiwi and a 323?
I know. So I did learn as I went that most of them start with a Kiwi and a 323, which I'm also addicted to now. You know? So my neighbour comes over and he says, you've got to buy this car. He says, you won't believe how good it is. He says, it's a 12A turbo.
Oh, turbo.
12A turbo 323 hatchback.
Oh, wow.
And to me at the time...
Is it the RX-7 factory turbo, or is it?
Yeah, it was an RX-7 factory 12A turbo with no turbo gear on it.
84, 85.
Yep, so it had no turbo gear on it. So it was just running a Holly, and it was just bare, an NA.
Yeah.
And it was ported. It was a bridge port. And at the time, I didn't really know a lot about all of that. So he said, just go and buy it, trust me. So I did. My first Mazda, I just trusted my neighbour because he said it was so cool. So I went and bought it.
When a Kiwi starts talking about a 323, you know,
so I showed up.
To listen.
Yeah, I showed up with my dad in Sydney, and we picked up this car. Guy signed it over to me, gave him the money. I put it on the trailer, my rented trailer, drove it back, and there I was with this 323, yellow, just awesome, tan interior.
What kind of rims was it running?
The stockies.
Modgies?
No, it had stockies on it. The stock wheels, you know, with the plastic centre caps. Yeah, but it had a 12A.
They're the same as the RX3 rims, no? The stock rims on a 323.
Oh, yeah. Righto. So I get this car back, know nothing about them. It starts, it idles. It's wicked, like it's so good. I drive it around the block, thing hammers. Can't believe it's a 1.3 litre.
Yeah.
I instantly understand why everybody likes them. And from there, I was just addicted to them. So I went and bought the turbo gear. I got a blow-through turbo made by a company in Canberra. I put that on there, put a turbo on there. I used an FC RX-7 intercooler that I stripped the decal off, and I mounted the intercooler just bare in the engine bay. And I plumbed all this stuff in, thinking not really knowing what I was doing, to be honest, but plumbed it all in.
All in the driveway?
All in the garage. I had a two-car garage.
Upgrade, eh?
Yeah, no one was allowed to park in the garage. It was just for me. I restored cars in there. You know, I built motors in there.
Sold parts out of there.
You know, and then I did it all from a two-car garage.
Yeah.
And then when I put the turbo on it, drove it around the block, it was just unreal, eh? It was really fast. It was like proper fast. I sold that car to move here to Canada. So I sold that car to a mate of mine, and he didn't want it with the turbo gear, said it was too complicated.
Yeah, right.
He goes, I don't want an unreliable turbo rotary. That was what he was saying, you know, and that's the way I kind of felt too when I was first brand new into rotaries. So I took all the turbo gear off it, and I sold it to him NA, and just had it NA, and then he sold it, And I've seen it online.
Yeah, I think you sent me an ad posting of that car about a year ago. It was up for sale again.
Yeah, recently sold, you know?
Yeah, still in New South Wales.
And it still had the 12A turbo block that was spray painted black.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can look at some of the cars I've built now that I've spray painted black because I think about the first Rotary I had that had a black block.
Yeah.
And I've
turbo cam.
And I've actually, on the next time you come here, I'm going to show you the cars that I've built and bought and whatever here.
Yeah. But we'll do a walk around of all the cars and a little bit of a spiel on them and the history on them.
But the car that I bought the car my mum would have bought. I bought the red 85 grey cloth interior FB, and I painted the block black like the first car I ever got.
And so that's here in your collection.
And I've got it in the collection.
Have to show everyone that.
Yeah, for sure.
So you bought that here in Toronto. So what's the Toronto scene like the Rotary scene over here?
You might as well be in Trinidad for
Trinidad,
sure.
Big Trinidad contingent.
Yeah, might as well be in Trinidad.
Hey, those boys are crazy about the RX2 sedan.
Love them.
Isn't RX2 sedan like the king in Trinidad?
In my opinion, and in their opinion, yes, I think it is.
And the FD.
They love them all.
Yeah.
And they love them all.
But they got an influx of these RX2 sedans.
Yeah, and heaps. It's really cool to go to a car show here.
Yeah.
And like see all these people. There's lots of Canadians that love them. Obviously, there's Canadians, Europeans, and all. There's lots of people that love them. But so many Trinis, lots of people from Trinidad, and they like them all. REPUs, Series 1s, Series 2s, 3s, they like FCs, they like FDs, they like all the stuff. Like they've got, they're not just into RX2 sedans.
It's funny where Mazda delivered these things in the 70s, you know, and the 80s. Weird little places, you know. Quite a few of the Caribbean countries got a good influx, and then some of the South American countries too. Like we ship parts to Chile. There's an RX3 club in Chile. There's a few guys down there, and then I was saying that we've sent some stuff to Ecuador the other day. You know? And Honduras, Costa Rica. Actually, quite a lot of stuff goes to Costa Rica, and obviously the big one, Puerto Rico.
Oh man, they're so good.
Top of the food chain, those guys.
They are so good. They've bought so much stuff from me, man. I send stuff down there that I can't believe because you can tell that they're building the fastest rotaries because they buy multiples of stuff. Like they must be putting them to their limits. Yeah, they must be.
You could do a whole podcast on the Puerto Ricans,
easy.
Yeah,
but Aussie, New Zealand, Australia, New Zealand, Puerto Rico. Yeah. Like that's where most of my parts go, other than Canada. So I've sold a few parts to European countries, not like you. Maybe I've sold to 10 different countries.
Yeah, but being in Toronto, like you've got the hub of the Rotary scene of Canada. Like I'm over in Edmonton, in Alberta, and it's a lot smaller, right? There's only 1 million people there, where there's 5 million in Toronto. Yeah. So, you know, and you're right in smack bang in the middle of it here, you know.
Yeah, and lots of walk-ins, eh? Like
walk-in customers.
Yeah.
So that helps when you don't have to ship engine parts, right?
Yeah. And I've sent a few crates to Australia, New Zealand. So what we do is get a 1 meter cubed crate, and we fill them up. Yeah. We put a ton of parts in them. Can't be over a ton. Can't be over 1 meter cubed.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what you put in there as long as it's under those measurements and dimensions and weight.
Stick about 4 engines, 4 gearboxes, and then fill all the gaps.
Fill the gaps with electronic dizzies.
Yeah, dizzies, whatever they need.
Badges,
rotors, E-shafts, but you know, obviously trying to keep the weight down. Steering wheels.
You start throwing irons and plates in there. You start go up in weight.
Steering wheels, gear knobs, all that stuff that doesn't weigh much, but it's really cool to have back in Australia.
Yeah. New Zealand. Yeah. So how many you sent down there now?
3. Done 3 crates. Done 2 to New Zealand, 1 to Australia.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Obviously, it's a long way away. Costs a bit of money, but they do get a better bang for their buck when they're buying the stuff. So yes, it's a big outlay for the customer, and it's a lot of work for me. Yeah. But you do get a lot of stuff for your money, and
some of the shipping, It's the shipping, you know, like you're sending 12As, there are going to be blocks down there, you know.
1 ton. It's 1 ton of stuff in that box.
Yeah.
It's 1 ton.
So you could fit. Can you fit a nose? No, you can't fit a nose.
You can because you just build the crate differently. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a cube. It can be a rectangle. It just has to be the same volume.
Ah, gotcha. So you can lay a long.
So one of them I did make
TNA
long,
nose cone in there,
and I just made the same volume. I just worked it out. So when the nose cone went in, I could fill it full of engines and stuff. Some guys don't want a complete engine. They want one disassembled. You know,
that's probably better, to make it long.
Yeah.
And shorter.
Yeah. But still, it doesn't matter because you can't go over a ton.
Yeah,
you know. So even if you disassemble a motor and you stack them neat, what'll happen is you'll get to a point where you're over a ton, and you've still got an empty crate.
Yeah.
So it's kind of 1 ton, And
just manipulate the measurements.
A metre cubed is kind of about right. Yeah.
So as far as the Toronto scene goes, there's quite a racetrack scene here, right?
Yeah,
like
there is.
There's a few guys that have got the old cars on the track.
Yeah,
we just actually, we send quite a few parts here to the race guys. That guy that had an accident in the RX2, we helped him out with some rust cuts and stuff like that to repair his rolled car. And then there's the RX3 on the track.
Yeah. So I just sent the shifter to the guy that rolled that RX2.
Yeah.
So he didn't have a shifter for his gearbox. I sent him the shifter, and it was so cool that, you know, he just bolts the shifter in, and then I see him on the track the next day.
Yeah.
It was really cool, you know. It was really upsetting to watch him roll.
Oh,
really upsetting.
There's that one photo of him in the air upside down, you know. It's just painful to see that sort of stuff, eh? You know?
Yeah, then there's RX3s on the track. There's some FBs. FCs, but the FCs that you see on the track are often carbureted. They've taken all the injection gear off them, and they put a side draft or an IDA on them.
Why is that? To fit into a certain class, or?
I'm not sure if it's to fit into the class or it's just to be user friendly and like upgrade it. And they don't have standalone ECUs, so I think it's just they race them on the track and they put bigger jets in them, choke them down. They do it on the track instead of tuning it on a computer.
Right.
I think it might be because of the class. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's just because of the usability, like for the driver or for the team. They can just change it. They can just change it on the fly. Some tracks aren't as fast.
They don't need a workshop and stuff to do a lot of stuff.
I think that's what it's about.
Do they have the enduro races here? Like in Alberta there, we just had a 12-hour race, right? And a couple of 8-hour races.
I'm sure they do. I don't know about that, but I'm sure they do. I just see
those are intense, man. When you're driving for 2 hours, you've got 4 drivers and an 8-hour enduro. And it's the middle of summer and you're in fire retardant clothes, man, and just soaking wet. Hot. Forearms are burning. You've been driving for 2 hours.
And for lots of people that don't know, Canada does have a really hot summer. Like
35.
So lots of people think
degrees Celsius for the Americans there.
It's about 1 million Fahrenheit.
Not Fahrenheit, must be about around 100.
I'm not sure.
90, probably 90.
So Canada's got a really hot summer, like Australia, like New Zealand. But lots of people think it's really cold here all the time. It does get really cold, but but it's got all the seasons, you know, and it's part of the reason why so many Mazdas were rusty.
Because they don't like the winter. Because the carburetor, they had issues starting, right?
And then here in Ontario, they put a lot of salt on the road in the winter. And if you drove them as a winter beater, they rusted. They really rusted.
If you ever tried to start a Rotary in -20 without it being plugged in,
you can't.
So like turning over that viscous slurry of oil.
So lots of the Mazdas I've bought here have had block heaters in them. I'm sure you're the same
which is funny because a lot of people like see an engine bay photo of a car from Canada and they're like, "What's that thing?" Coming out of the block.
So there's a couple of types. I've seen 2 types here.
There's 2 types.
There's one that screws in. It's like a long probe. And it goes into the water jacket. And then there's another one that goes around the spark plug like a little iron, like an element. That goes around the plugs on the outside of the block. It literally heats up the side of the block.
And it's just got a house plug coming out of it.
Right? They've just got a 110 or 240, like the two, you know.
That's what you need up in Alberta, that's for sure. It gets a lot colder up there than it actually does here, right?
I mean, we're starting the winter right now. It's 22 degrees.
Well, we're already down to 0 back in Alberta.
It's good.
No, that's good, the Toronto scene. How about the car show scene? I see you won a couple of awards the other weekend with some cars.
So Ontario might have the best, biggest, most consistent car show when it comes to rotaries in Canada.
I think it does, for sure. I don't really...
So you put on you were part of putting on a pretty good Rotary car show in Alberta that I came out to a few years ago. Rotary Resurgence.
For the visit to that one. A few people turned up to that.
It was good, really good.
Trying to get on par with the Kiwis and Aussies and the Puerto Ricans though. Hey, it's a tough challenge, but this one that you just had here, they gave out a few awards and you won a couple.
So Rotor Meet is every year. I'm not 100% sure how many years it's in a row now, but they do it every year. They did postpone this one and they changed the date because of the rain, so they always have it on a nice sunny day. So everyone shows up, but you see everybody. There's been REPUs, there's been RX2s, there's been heaps of FDs, like big dollar FDs.
The FDs over here are pretty crazy, it was big dollar FDs, Big dollar. Big single turbo.
Serious FDs. So 2 years ago, there was only 4 FBs and I brought 2 of them. And then this year, there was a whole lineup of FBs. So it's definitely getting bigger. It's definitely getting better. I think more people are getting into older rotaries now because I think they've become, FB's right on the cusp now of being a real proper classic.
Yeah.
Like a real good car.
It's crazy what's vintage now. Like FDs are vintage.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure they are.
25 years old.
I know.
FD and vintage just don't sound right together, you know?
No, and they don't sound vintage. And I mean, an FD, you look at an FD today, it looks current. It doesn't.
It could come out as a 2024 car. Absolutely. It's actually one of the only cars I've ever seen that can hold its look.
And I feel the same way about a 20B Cosmo.
Yeah.
Like the Cosmos are sick.
Yeah.
So yes, back to the car show. This year I won Best FB RX-7. Again, when you come back next time, we'll do all the cars. I'll show you that car. I'll make sure I've got it in the collection. But then last year, I took the 20B Cosmo and I won Rarest Rotary. So it was kind of a category all by itself, and I won Rarest Rotary.
Man, there can't be anything much more rare from a production line.
Maybe not as a production line.
Production car from Mazda in Ontario than that 20B Cosmo.
Well, there's a couple of L10A and L10B Cosmos. They'd beat it. So, but again, Cosmo. They're all Cosmo. So they'd be rare.
What do you think? What do you think? There's about 5 of them in the country.
20Bs?
No.
L10As, L10Bs. Oh,
yeah.
Series 1.
First gen Cosmos.
Yeah, I'd say there's 5. 5 for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
There's 2 in Calgary.
There's 1 here that I know of.
1 here. There's 3. 1 in Edmonton.
Yeah.
There's probably another couple floating around.
I'm sure there's 5.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And all various stages too.
Yeah.
From a rolling shell that we know of, all the way to a concourse car.
Yeah.
That actually just got second at a concourse show here.
Yeah, that's an impressive car.
Very impressive.
It's very hard to beat something like concourse rebuild on a L10A 10B Cosmo.
It's very good.
Eh?
Yeah,
oh, man.
very, very good.
I don't know where you're getting parts for that. They're still around in Japan. You still see them pop up on Yahoo and stuff every now and then. But that's the only place you really find in those parts, I think.
So the car show scene here is really good. The Toronto scene, like you were asking, is excellent. It's really good because there's people from everywhere, like Australia, New Zealand, Trinidad, all the Caribbean.
It's a populated area, because you've got like New York just down the road, and Detroit and the States is right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And lots of the guys here, lots of the people here and around here drive across the border to go to all those, Tail of the Dragon and all the Rotary meets over there. Where's the one you're going to soon?
7 Stock.
Yeah. Like heaps of people go to all these things.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. I've not been because I'm always way too busy.
Yeah, 7 Stock, I think it's 26 coming up.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy to have it for that long, that many years, like.
Anybody that knows me well knows that I'm always here working on something.
Yeah.
And I do probably suffer from not getting out as much as I should.
Well, the thing is, we talk about the community, and I think you're a big part of keeping that community alive.
I'm trying.
A big part of why these vintage cars are on the racetrack still, why there's more than one FB turning up to these car shows, why? Always seeing people posting, I went around to AUSCAN, he sorted me out, he fixed me up.
Yeah, I'm trying, man.
Something as basic as a compression test to a part, to fully rebuilding engines and fully rebuilding cars and getting these guys on the road,
Yeah, it's been really good, So
in this workshop.
Yeah, all in the last 5 years too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really good. So
there's definitely lots of people talking about in this area for sure.
Yeah, had up to about 60 cars here of my own. I've had about 60 Mazdas at one time.
Yeah.
And just used these parts from cars. The cars that will never ever be restored. So that's something we should talk about, is that no car gets pulled apart and parted out that someone would restore.
That's right. Well, it depends. Yeah, this in this province.
From here, like people in Australia and New Zealand would restore them.
Oh, I've seen photos, man, of cars from the salt-ridden streets of Ontario.
Yep.
With the weight of the struts and the coils have come through the hood bonnet.
Yep.
Come through
the weight of the car,
and the car's sitting on the ground.
Correct.
And the struts are sticking through the fenders.
It's almost impossible to restore them, and everything from the impossible to restore.
It's a Flintstone mobile.
Yeah, but all the way that spectrum's pretty big. So all the way from the car that's never ever ever going to be restored.
Yeah.
All the way to the car that no one will restore. You could restore it, but no one will. So. I'll buy these cars and sometimes get a good deal, sometimes not get a great deal, but depending on the parts, if I'm paying top dollar, let's call it top dollar for a car, but it's got some parts that I know someone needs, I'll get it I'll take those parts off because I can fix a few cars. I can make a couple of bucks,
for sure.
Keep a couple of cars on the road, and then it goes all the way back to the one that's no one's ever going to restore. It's impossible to restore, that you can get for, you know, almost scrap value, and use these parts and send them around the world. Because these parts might be junk here sometimes, but they're very valuable in other places where those parts have been used up.
Especially the interior plastics where the Australian sun has just eaten them alive, and they just turn to dust as soon as you touch them. As soon as you touch them. Stuff like that. But, you know, you're sacrificing one car that maybe could be restored or maybe not, and you're getting hundreds of other cars on the road. You know, like if you're selling 100 parts to 100 different people off one rusted out RX-7, that's contributing to getting 100 cars on the road.
Correct.
The alternative is to let it sit there until someone comes and tries to restore it, which is not really happening over here because the majority of this stuff is leaving Canada. You know, you're keeping the Canadian scene alive, but it's not as big as the worldwide scene. So you're moving a lot of the stuff to Puerto Rico and New Zealand and Australia. You know? And right now, USA, but Puerto Ricans in USA. Well, if you're shipping to the States, 50% of the people are from Puerto Rico.
For sure.
You know, absolutely. They've all moved up there. It's
for sure.
And most of them in Florida, right?
Yeah.
It's a sunny state. But it's just the worldwide demand, and we're noticing it at the moment with the seasons, right? So coming into summer, the Kiwis and Aussies, the phone just starts ringing.
Yeah.
You know, and then come round where the summer ends in New Zealand, Australia, and then coming into a North American summer, phone starts ringing.
Yep.
You know, it just picks up.
Yeah. So AUSCAN suffers from exactly the same thing.
It should be the other way around. You should be working on your car in the winter.
That's right. Know? So I always like to not encourage someone to do the work on their car.
Yeah.
Like, if you could bring it to me, I'll work on it in the winter. Like I'll put it in the shed and I'll work on it, put it on the hoist. I've got the time. No one's driving it. It's outside.
Yeah.
I've got a truck and trailer that I can pick up and deliver if they pay for it. But no one ever does it. Everyone brings it all in the summer. Last minute. Yeah. So, yes.
It's like we're coming up to 7 stock.
Yes.
The week before 7 stock or 2 weeks before 7 stock. Oh, Riggsy, can you overnight this to LA? Can you overnight this to Chicago? Oh man, come on. Give us a break here.
I know all about it.
Hey, it's just, but yeah, no, we're all guilty of it, I think.
Oh,
hey,
me,
to a degree.
Me too.
We're all guilty of having more than one project.
I might be the worst.
Well, looking around here, I think you do have a problem.
Yeah, I might be the worst.
Speaking of that Cosmo, that 20B Cosmo, going back to it, tell us a story about how you acquired that car and what went down.
It's a good story between me and you. So, all right, I'll tell the story from what I remember.
Yeah.
I mean, you know the story yourself.
I know. I was involved.
Yeah. I bought the 20B Cosmo, and I bought it sight unseen. Well, I was going to buy it sight unseen anyway. It was in Saskatchewan,
which is close to Alberta.
Which is about 6 hours from you.
6 hours from my house. Yep.
Yeah. I did the deal with the customer or the guy with the owner, and
so just in perspective here, that's about a 30-hour drive
from here.
From here,
for sure.
Yeah, it's a 6-hour drive from my house.
For sure.
Yeah.
From here, it's about 3,000 k's.
Yeah. Canada's a big old country.
Yeah.
And you're only halfway across.
Well, it's 21 hours. It's 20 hours from here to get out of Ontario.
Yeah.
Just to get out of this province.
And then you got to go across Manitoba.
Yeah.
And then you got to go halfway across Saskatchewan.
Correct.
And you got to go north a lot.
Yes. So a massive deal.
Yeah.
It would have been a week of driving to get that car there and back.
So you did the deal?
Did the deal. Sent you a certified bank check to go and get it.
You're like, who can pick this up for me? Who do I know?
Oh, no, I had to get you to do it. You got the equipment, you know what you're doing.
Riggsy.
Yeah. So, but at the same time this is all happening, and the same time that I needed to get this done.
Like exactly the same time.
Exactly the same time.
Yeah.
You come across this RX2
sedan,
one owner, Peripheral orange, white vinyl roof, unbelievable car.
Bone interior,
stock as automatic, air condiconed, like a really, really, really cool car. So you find this car, one owner.
So one lady owner, 95-year-old, unfortunately passed away, so it's a deceased estate, and her 68-year-old daughter was selling it.
Yes, that's right.
And the odds of finding a one lady owner 70s, like 20 years ago, it was hard to find a one lady owner 70s car. Now trying to find one in 2000, this was about 3 years ago.
Something like that. Yeah. 20.
It's super rare.
Yeah, for sure.
Know? So anyway, continue.
So you do the deal with her.
Yeah.
I've done the deal with the guy that owned the Cosmo.
Yeah.
And I happen to live 6 hours away from your RX2.
In Ohio.
In Ohio.
Yeah.
So yes, it was a border crossing. So
Yeah.
I'm in Canada, in Ohio.
So that's a Detroit-Windsor border, is it what
Yeah,
it is?
yeah. So I went, yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
to the border, to that border from here, it's about 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then another 3 hours from there to Ohio.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
So I'm picking up your 20B Cosmo, and you're picking up my
RX2
RX2
And you get me
sedan,
to pick up this RX2
and we're going to
sedan.
store them.
And yep, you're 30.
First of all, I'm going around the block doing burnouts in your Cosmo, just test driving it.
Yeah. I'm 36 hours away from you.
Yeah.
You're 36 hours away from me.
Yeah.
But here we are with each other's car. So I go to the States, I meet the lady, I meet that daughter, I buy the car.
Oh, Bev. Bev
So
was her
good.
name. Yeah.
You'd already sent her the money, or did I pay her?
I can't remember how.
I might have got the cash for you or something. Yeah, I think you got the American money
I
sent
think
to me.
I sent you the money.
Yeah, the envelope.
And then you pulled it out.
Yep.
In American dollars.
That's right.
And took it down there, and you sent me a bank check.
I sent you in an envelope. I mailed you my certified
to pay
bank
for
check.
The Cosmo.
Yeah, and then you took that guy to the bank.
And then I went to the bank with him.
Yeah. So then I went down there, got this car, I loaded it up, took photos with her. It was really cool. It was really good. And the car, your RX2, is much better than it looks on paper, because that car was actually behind a caravan and got towed around by an RV. So that car got hooked up to an RV, like a Winnebago.
Half of the kilometres, miles
more,
on it.
More than half.
From Ohio to Arizona when they went on holidays, family holidays.
Yeah.
They'd tow it behind the RV.
That's right, yep. So that car has way less Ks on it. And knowing that, when I brought it back here, so I loaded it up, got it across the border. I mean, really good that you did all the paperwork, because that wasn't easy.
It's not easy, no.
It's not an easy job. Lots of people will tell you it's easy.
Yeah.
I've not experienced that.
Neither have I. I've heard lots of people telling me it's easy too.
Lots of people told me you just bring them over and everything's done.
Not if you want to get it on the road in Canada.
Well, yeah, it's not my experience, and not yours, because you did weeks of paperwork.
Yeah.
And I spent a long time at the border, and we had like a 72-hour period to bring it back.
Yeah.
We have like a 72 hours to wait for the thing to clear.
You got to get your paperwork, and then there's a 72-hour grace period while they process it. So if you're in the States, you can't just buy it, send them the paperwork. You've got to wait that 72 hours. No,
and it still comes back with a title. Like, it's got an American title. There's no Canadian paperwork yet. So when I got to the border with your car, just to elaborate on the story, when I got to the border with your car, they said that I had to go on the paperwork as the purchaser.
Yeah.
And
you're just the trucker, really.
Yeah, but I wasn't the trucker, because I wasn't employed as a business as a trucker.
Yeah.
I was just like doing it as a mate, as a personal mates thing, So I'm at the border, and they fought me tooth and nail to put that car in my name to bring it into Canada.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to, I had to tell them, it had nothing to do with me.
Well, that would have been all right. I would have kept the 20B, and you could have had the RX2.
Well, I mean, on the polls that we ended up doing.
Oh, yeah. So we got the cars back to you.
We got the cars.
And then what did you do? You put a pole up.
So, I got yours running, because it hadn't run in 30 years.
Yeah.
I put fuel in it.
And the AC worked.
And it ran.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe that. I drove it. Yeah. I drove an RX2 sedan that hadn't been started in 30 years.
Yeah.
And all I did was put fuel in it. I did nothing else. Hadn't even been started. It had been parked in a climate-controlled garage.
Yeah, that's what saved it, right?
For 30 years, maybe longer. Anyway, so I get it running. Here it is. I got to get this car to you. You got to get that car to me, vice versa. So we put a poll up. Yeah. We put a poll up on Facebook saying, what would you rather?
Yeah.
So to everybody on Facebook, it looked like I owned the RX2, because we didn't tell this story. I look like I owned the RX2. You look like you owned a 20B Cosmo. Yeah. And I was saying, I want to swap this car for that 20B Cosmo.
Yeah, yep.
And I said, what would you do?
So, for the viewers that didn't see the cars, the Cosmo is a 20B factory, completely stock standard UNOS Cosmo. And the RX2 is a factory, completely stock standard sedan, Series 2, twin distributor, Herschel orange with a bone interior and a white vinyl roof, which doesn't get more vintage Mazda than that, does it?
Not at all.
So you put the poll up, and what happened?
I put the poll up.
Lots of people voting.
Lots of people voting.
The poll was, what would you rather?
What would you rather?
Yeah.
I'm about to do this trade. I'm about to do this swap. Yeah. I wanted everyone to think that I was swapping this sick RX2 sedan for this Cosmo. Yeah. That's what I wanted everyone to think.
20B, not 13B.
20B. And it wasn't quite stock either. had a Mazda speed exhaust,
Yes.
rebuilt motor by a company here in Alberta.
Yeah.
Has BC Racing coilovers. Has some, some strut braces, rear and front strut braces.
That's right. It did have a few mods.
Some nice, real tasteful stuff, like some performance mods that I like.
We'll do a segment on that car in Duncan's yard on the next episode.
There's going to be a lot of next time, eh?
I might have to move over here for a bit.
Yeah. I think next time you come, you'll have to come for heaps longer, eh?
Yeah.
Because there's about 20 cars to get through. So we put the poll up, and in my head, I'm thinking that the 20B is a no-brainer. It's my car anyway, so I know it's my car, but I thought the poll was just going to be very lopsided. The 20B was going to clean up. It's one of the rarest production cars ever made, not just Mazdas. Like there was 3,500 20Bs made over 5 years, 1990 to 1995, and who knows how many's left. I've asked a lot of people about how many's left, and no one can tell you.
Yeah, the problem is people are taking the engines, right?
Yeah.
It's the engine that's worth all the money there, and the electrical gremlins and those things can be a bit of a pain too.
They can be,
but yours is pretty straight stock.
Very good. Yeah,
there's no issues
very good. And I love the black.
They're ahead of their time, right, with their electrics.
They were the first car in the world, not just a first Mazda. They were first car in the world to get GPS navigation. Which is cool, and it's the only car in the world to have a 3-rotor. So it's a factory 3-rotor. Stock, and it's the only one. I find this so cool and so collectible, and I really wanted one. I really wanted one.
Awareness of it.
I want one more than an FD because I don't fit in an FD very well. FDs are small.
They're a big luxury car. There's lots of.
They're awesome. They're really good. I really like them.
So what was the outcome of this poll and what happened there? Lots of people commenting too, right?
Lots.
Like when you put it up, I was unsure. Mate, what was going to happen there because...
Mate, this got to the point where people were sending me personal messages saying, don't do it. Like, there were people...
They wanted the RX2
They couldn't believe that I was talking about this. I thought it was going to go the other way.
Well, I went through my shop with all the employees there, and it ended up being a 50-50 split with all of us.
It wasn't on the polls.
Yeah.
I mean, I could look it up again, but I'm pretty sure it was about... It might have been 70-30 or something like that.
In favour of the two.
In favour of the two. 100%.
Yeah.
The Cosmo... Worldwide, the Cosmo is not viewed as that kind of car.
No.
That's the way I take that now.
Yeah.
But really...
But the engine.
How many...
Right.
Yeah, but how many RX2s were made?
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands? Hundreds of thousands.
Absolutely, yeah. I do have the number written down somewhere.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of RX2s over multiple countries. So many. And the 20B Cosmo was 3,500 in one country. Like, I find...
It's a drastic difference, eh?
Massive.
It's a difference. Right?
It's not, in my head, it's not a comparable.
Yeah.
So I really wanted this very rare 3-rotor factory Cosmo because I already had an RX2 sedan. So your RX2 sedan in the shed was the second one in the shed. And I owned the other one.
That's another story we've got to tell everyone about how Duncan got the RX2 sedan off me. I pried that from my hands, that's for sure.
I reckon I got ripped off, to be honest.
Well, we'll talk about that on the next episode when we do the tour of the shop and all the cars.
Yeah. So yes, the poll went to the RX2 dramatically.
But I just remember, I remember it starting off as in favour of the Cosmo. Like everyone,
it did. No, it did. It started that way.
Maybe some people changed their answers. I don't know.
Oh yeah, or more about when all the Kiwis started seeing it.
Yeah.
No Kiwis picking a Cosmo.
Yeah, maybe you posted it at night time in New Zealand and then they didn't see it for 12 hours.
And as soon as everyone got up in New Zealand, it just
because they do love an RX2 sedan down there.
Yeah,
I must say.
And I love an RX2 sedan, and I already had one.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't have a 20B Cosmo. I really wanted one because having one of each would be the end goal.
Absolutely.
Like having one good driving, whether it's got a worked ported motor or a big turbo or a whatever, the end goal...
Well, you're getting pretty close. That's that Parkway bus you need.
Oh, yeah.
And the Road Pacer.
I'd really like a Road Pacer. Because I tell you, the Road Pacer suits my life unbelievably because I only ever built Holdens and now I only ever build Rotaries.
The slow life.
It's so good. Like, I think it would be the coolest thing ever. So a Road Pacer with a Cosmo motor.
So they're a Premier?
Yeah, they were like a HJ Kingswood. Premier.
Yeah, Premier, yeah.
But with a 13B rotary in them.
Yeah.
Made by Mazda. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd really like one.
Only right-hand drive.
I'd really like one. That's the car that I genuinely would really like as the end game. You know, I'd really like a road pacer.
Well, speaking about the polls and stuff on Facebook, like what's your thoughts on the worldwide Rotary community on Facebook at the moment?
Very good.
Yeah, just loaded full of information.
Loaded.
Yeah.
And without saying any names, there's some guys on there that are absolute
wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like some of those tech pages, it's pretty crazy.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So no matter what problem I've got or what thing I'm trying to get through, Facebook's got the answer. I mean, you go back before Facebook
Rotary and
you go to those forums,
RX7 Club and that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like those forums are just
going
unbelievable.
Back to the 90s. Yeah.
They have information on there forever.
And it's great that it's been held.
It's
like it hasn't disappeared. You
for
know?
Anyone.
You know, some of those things, if you've got a problem and you search it, you're like, oh, this was posted in 2001.
Yeah.
The answer.
Yeah. So I actually suffer from people asking me questions all the time, and I'll do their research. What I really should say to a lot of people is just go online and Google it. You'll find the answer because the answer's there.
Yeah.
There's nothing that they're doing or I'm doing that hasn't already been done, and on a forum or Facebook. It's crazy. So people will ask me questions, and sometimes I don't know the answer. But I'll go on Facebook and I'll Google it.
You'll know someone that you can just message directly and say, hey, do you know the answer to this, right?
And oftentimes, oftentimes that person that will message is the person that wrote it on the forum. You know? So sometimes I'm guilty of it, I copy and paste from Google or the forums or whatever from Facebook to tell the customer or the friend that's asking me. Really, the answer is just Google it.
Yeah,
it's there. The answer's there.
It's all there at your fingertips.
Yeah,
right?
It's nice though it's nice when somebody asks me a question. They're putting faith in I'm telling them the right information. So I do my best.
Yeah, and like it's good for tying the world together as well. Like we can all see all the Puerto Ricans racing in Orlando. You know, shooting the quarter mile, trying to get into that 5-second club, which is going to happen pretty soon.
Mate,
you know,
the Aussies are there. The Aussies are with them. The Aussies are nipping at their heels.
Yeah, like Gabriel, I think he's got the record right now for the 13B, but you see Blueprint in there as well. And, El Jeffy and there's a bunch of the others there. But they're all running Microtechs too, which is pretty cool too, eh? Yeah.
But then you talk about Microtech here.
Yeah.
And no one's
just all but it's straight line stuff. Like it's all Haltech here, right?
All Haltech.
Link.
Yeah. Or here it's all Haltech. Yeah.
I mean, if you want support, you're probably better off going with Haltech because it's right here.
Yeah. And you can buy all the parts. Anything that's broken, you can just get it. It's easy. It's very easy. Yeah.
I mean, it's great. It's great for everything, really. Like it's good to see what some of these shops are doing too, right? Like some of these Rotary shops are really pumping out some unique stuff, you know. Like I had the pleasure of going on a tour through New Zealand there last time I was there a couple of years ago, and I went to a bunch of the big name shops. Man, it's crazy. They're like mad scientists, some of them, you know.
Which I've not done yet. So I've been to a couple in Sydney.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got a relationship with those guys.
Yeah.
And then I've been to a couple here in Ontario.
Yeah.
But that's all I've done.
That's still a good amount.
It's very good.
Yeah.
But the Rotary scene, like you said, the Rotary scene when it comes to Facebook and online, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Does it have drama? Yes, like every page, like every community. But I think it's a very minimal drama for the amount of content.
Yeah, like I've talked to some Honda guys.
Yeah.
And they're saying the Honda pages are pretty out of control.
The worst is Nissan.
Nissan Datsun?
240s.
Yeah.
Worst.
Man, there's cult following in those 240s.
The worst. Yeah, not that late though. Yeah. I'm talking like late 240s. S13, 14.
Oh, okay.
So I've been into multiple cars, but obviously I stick in my lane.
Yeah.
I get out of my lane every now and then.
Yeah.
Like I'll get into some Datsuns or some Mazda.
It's hard when there's all that Toyotas. Yeah.
Like my first car when I came to Canada, I got a 1975 Corolla.
How good's an old Corolla? KE Corolla, K20,
K27, I think mine was. K27.
Two door.
Yeah. Red.
Yeah.
Red, nice. I was about to put a 13B Bridgeport in it.
Yeah.
And my hatchback came up. So I've got a GLC, a 323 coupe, which again, we'll look at next time you come. But I sold the Corolla to buy the 323.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
And then from there, all these, the 323 that I've got here is all just thinking about the first Rotary I ever got, which was my 323 sedan. So, you know, it in my head was sentimental already when I just, as soon as I got it, one owner, put a 13B Bridgeport in it, bringing back memories. So
start speaking like a Kiwi.
Start speaking like a Kiwi. You know, it's funny, you know, I go back to Australia and show all the Aussies or show certain Aussies about all the cars I've got.
Yeah.
And I've been asked if I'm Kiwi.
Because you got a hatchie.
Yeah, I've got a hatchie, got a 626.
Yeah.
You know, Series 1.
Yeah, you just sold a 2-door.
Just sold a 2-door, yeah. But I've got a lot of RX2 sedan.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of cars that Kiwis really love.
Yeah.
Not so much Australians.
Yeah.
So where I'm from in Australia, I'm just outside of Sydney, the FD King. Yeah. But then you've got RX2 coupes, RX3 coupes. Growing up, that's RX3 coupe was like king when I was growing up. Everybody said the RX3 coupe was like the race car, you know. That's the way I heard it anyway.
From our experience of dealing with our customers and that, the RX3, the R100 and the FD are definitely top of the food chain, but the Series 1 RX2 coupe is just, that's the car that's...
In Australia.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the R100s, there's just less of them, but that Series 1 RX2 coupe is so sought after, especially Australian, you know, like...
So Series 1, when it comes to Series 1 versions of any of the cars, I've not seen a lot of those here in Canada.
No.
I haven't seen...
There's a few of them, but they all come with twin front headlights, right? So it's hard to decipher if it's a Series 1 or not. The bonnet, the hood.
Yeah, had the slotted vents in it.
Yeah, and then there's a few differences in the inside and stuff like that. And then...
just something I haven't seen a lot of here in Canada. Where we saw them in Australia, I saw them.
Series 1 R100s.
Yeah, never seen one here.
Yeah, I've only ever heard of them here. I've never seen them. Yeah. And that was in BC. But moving right along here, we're going to do a segment called This or That with all our guests on this show. So this is a bit of a fun little segment that we'll get going on here. So it's just it's called This or That. So we'll start with Duncan. RX3 sedan or RX2 sedan? What are you going for here? We're going vintage here. We're going old school.
RX2 sedan or RX3 sedan?
Like, you had to pick. What are you going for?
Let's start off with I own both.
Yeah.
I have an RX2 sedan and I have an RX3 sedan.
Which is a rare. RX3 sedan's a rare car over here.
Very rare car. So I think the RX3 sedan over here has to be one of the rarest rotaries to Canada. It's got to be. The RX3 sedan, I've just not seen any others. I've seen one other that went to New Zealand. There was
it'd be a toss up between the sedan and the RX5, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Or the RX4 sedan, which is
rare, RX4 sedan, yeah. Series 1 R100.
Yeah, Series 1 R100.
Yeah. So I'll choose, living here in Canada, I'll choose the RX3 sedan with a 10A front.
Over the RX2 sedan?
Over the RX2 sedan. So here in Canada, I would prefer my RX3 sedan 10A front with a 13B Bridgie in it.
And are you basing it's
not stock. We're not talking stock here.
Are you basing that on the rareness of it?
Yes, but I'm also basing it on the look too. So the look of both of them, in my opinion, is very hard to choose from. An RX2 sedan is sick, like slammed, whatever wheels. I've got mini lights on mine. Again, we'll have a look at that next time you come. And I've got meshes, like I've got hot wires on my RX3 sedan. Both sick. So when I look at my RX2 sedan, I'll pick the RX2. Yeah. When I look at my RX3 sedan, I'll probably pick the RX3.
Not the clearest answer, but we're going to go with the RX3, and you're very specific there with the 10A front too.
Yes, I like the 10A front the most. Yeah. So if I'm going to have the RX3 sedan, if I choose this over the RX2 sedan, has to have the 10A front. A 12A front RX3 sedan, I'll choose the RX2. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough call. Very, very tough call. I can tell by your answer.
Well, let's just finish with I own both.
Okay, next question. Series 3 RX7 13B GSLSE or Series 3 RX7 12A Turbo? Now, just so that everyone's aware, that it isn't aware, the Series 3 12A Turbo is Japanese market, Australian right-hand drive, New Zealand. And the counter to that was for the American market was the left-hand drive GSLSE, which was a 13B car. And that came out. Both came out with the big brakes, the big discs, big calipers, stuff like that. LSD rear end. The 13B GSLSE was injected, and the 12A in the right-hand drive market was turbo.
Yeah.
Both top of the line.
Just awesome.
Yeah, we both own GSLSEs, and we both drive them every now and then. I drove mine all summer, actually.
Yeah, so my father-in-law drives one of my 2 GSLSEs as a daily.
Pleasurable drive.
Awesome.
Big difference to the 12A car, right?
Both injected.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
First injected rotaries was the
was
the FB 12A turbo and the FB
HB Cosmo.
Yeah. It was all from the 85 though. It's all from that era. So if I had to choose, I'd choose the 12A turbo FB.
Oh, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans that are like, nah, right now.
I agree. But if I'm going to have an injected car that's complicated when it comes to porting it, because I don't like a stock rotary too much.
Yeah.
I like them ported. I find a ported rotary NA
hectic.
So much fun. And so cool that you can do it yourself and build it yourself, and there's no...
We were cruising around in a ported rotary last night.
So good.
It was a good drive.
Yeah.
So you go with the 12A turbo?
I'll go with the 12A turbo just because I've not had one. I've not owned one.
Yeah.
I've owned a few of the 12A turbo engines.
Yeah.
I've even owned the 12A turbo engines here.
But not a genuine 12A turbo car.
Never had the 12A turbo car. Yeah. So it all the way goes back to the first rotary I bought. Had a 12A turbo 323. I've bought FBs here that have 12A turbo blocks that are NA. Even the distributor was
just been plugged.
Yeah, because I think what happened here was
housings.
When there was a warranty job.
Yeah.
Mazda would send blocks, whatever they had on the shelf, to do warranty jobs, and they would just plug all the turbo ports.
Yeah. Which is exactly the same thing, right?
And then cars here got a low compression 12A with no turbo gear on it. Yeah. And I just happened to have been lucky to buy an FB with a replacement block. And then these motors, are quite valuable and quite rare, and I've sold lots of the parts from these back to Australia. So I'll choose the 12A turbo because I don't have one. I've never had one. They didn't come to Canada, and I own 2 GSLSEs.
Another thorough answer.
So I'll choose that.
Thorough answer.
I'll choose it. I'll choose it if I had to have one and not the other.
Okay, we're going to move on to nose cones. We've got an RX3 wagon, we've got an RX3 sedan, and we've got an RX3 coupe. And we've got 10A and 12A nose cones. What are you putting on each car? Why? What's your look?
10A sedan, 12A coupe, 12A wagon.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it.
The sedan's got to rock the 10A front, eh?
Sedan's got to have
coupe could go either way. Like coupe, the 10A, no? Don't like the 10A on the coupe?
I like the 10A on a coupe.
Yeah.
If it's a 10A car.
Yeah.
I like the 10A on the coupe if you pop the bonnet and it's got a factory 10A RX3 engine in it.
Do you think there's something odd about a 10A front on a wagon?
Yes.
Do you think it makes it look a little weird?
I think it looks a bit calm. I think it makes it look...
Someone's going to post a hectic 10A wagon there just doing skids.
I think it makes it look placid. Like I think that the 12A front on a wagon or a coupe
small.
It looks very aggressive. Like it looks like...
Sorry, the 10A is a bit small.
Yeah, it's just it's not a funny look. They're all good. I like them all.
Yeah.
But if I have to choose, 10A sedan, 10A front sedan, 12A front wagon, 12A front coupe.
There's some really nice looking 12A front wagons out there, eh?
Very nice.
Like really, really nice.
Very, yeah.
In New Zealand's got a lot of nice ones. Eh?
So all of the RX3s I've had here, every single one of them, the 10 that I've owned, they all have 10A fronts. Wagon, coupe,
because the 12A front, the 12A in general is very, very rare up here. Right?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to buy one here. Yeah. And a mate of mine bought it. And now that front is actually on a Kiwi's car in the States.
Yeah.
So it went from here. I could have bought the car, I didn't buy it. My mate got it. He sent the nose cone to a Kiwi in America, and he has it on a coupe.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, for those that don't know, the 808 piston version, the early 808 came out with the 10A nose cone.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And so there's a bit more of an abundance of them over here because of that reason, right?
Yeah.
And then the later 808s came out with the Mazda, the single headlight front end.
Yeah, I've never seen a front end that wasn't a 10A.
Yeah.
So here in Canada, every 808 or RX3 has had a 10A front, except the one that my mate had.
Yeah, so over here, the later models they came with the single rounds.
Yep.
But they never came with the square.
No.
You know, the Australian, New Zealand, Japanese version of the square 808 front headlights. Never saw them over here because of the headlight laws. And that's why the Series 1 RX2 comes with twin fronts, and the R100 comes with round headlights because of their headlight laws back in the day. The North American headlight laws wouldn't allow the smaller square.
Is that one of your questions, whether I like RX2 twin headlights or RX2 rectangle
I know
headlights?
you're going to say twin, and you're going to say no.
They're so good. The twin's got to be better.
No, I knew you were going to say twin, and you're going to say because the taillights are twin.
I love it.
I disagree.
Twin fronts, twin rears. I love it. I love it. I love
Series
it.
1 squares.
Nah.
That's where it's at.
Disagree.
On a sedan.
I like twins.
Could argue about this all day. Well, thanks very much for this or that segment. That was good. It was very detailed. There was no one-word answers there.
No.
We're going to move on to another segment called the Final 3 segment. And we're going to start off with your favorite factory Mazda color.
Ooh, my favorite factory Mazda color.
There's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of blends of different shades.
There's a lot to choose from. My favorite factory Mazda color, I'll pick red. I'll pick red because it's the car my mum would have bought. And so not only is it the car my mum would have picked, I own lots of red cars. So I own a red GSLSE 85 model that my mum would have bought with the grey cloth. I owned a red right-hand drive Turbo FC grey cloth. I had it because it was almost a substitute for the one that I couldn't find. I was looking for that red Series 3 FB with grey cloth interior, and I couldn't find one. No matter where I looked everywhere.
It's very, very rare to come across. We've seen a few red Series 3s, but the GSLSE in red
with grey cloth interior.
Grey cloth interior on top of that is extremely hard to find.
Lots of them had leather. Most of them.
They had the burgundy leather as well, like most of them, right?
So not only do I have a red FB, I have a red Turbo FC. I had a right-hand drive one. I've sold it. I have a left-hand drive one that I own now. Again, we'll do a segment on that. I have a red 1200 coupe.
Which is immaculate condition.
23,000 original miles from the original owner. And I have a red Series 2 R100 from the original family. It went from the father to the mother to the son.
And that's my favourite car in your collection.
Yes. And I can't wait to do this.
So that'd be like a sunrise red then?
Sunrise red. I'm not sure if they're all sunrise red, but yes, it's sunrise red.
The Granada red. There's a few different in the R100 anyway.
It's definitely a sunrise red color. Like it's not the pale red. It's a nice deep red, and I like that nice deep red. Even if we were to choose the FB version of that red, I like that red.
Shines up nice.
Yeah.
Fire engine red. We call it fire engine red.
Yeah.
The number one car that you regret selling?
My right-hand drive Turbo FC.
That's a very, very rare car here.
Here. Yeah. If you're giving me, are you giving me a timeline, or are you talking? Are you talking in my life?
Well, we're talking in your life,
in my life. So we're not just talking about the Mazdas.
Well, whatever.
Okay, so while I've been building and restoring and selling and whatever fixing Mazdas at AUSCAN, the one I regret the most is my right-hand drive FC. I had a right-hand drive Turbo FC here.
That was a bullet too, wasn't it?
Missile, 400 horsepower, sick. So I had that car here. It was built by a shop here that a friend of mine runs, and I sold it. I sold it, and don't ask me why. Had a weak moment.
Yeah, wow.
I had a moment where I ran out of space or something. Something happened.
You got to have a couple of regrets with this collection, that's for sure.
So I sold it.
Yeah.
But I sold it to somebody who's restoring it and going to make it better. So that's okay. I get to still watch it.
But still around the area, yeah.
But to replace this regret, I bought the exact same car, left-hand drive. Same red, same Turbo FC, same year. So because I couldn't buy that one back.
We have to do a dashboard swap.
Yeah, okay. I
know. The last question there we got in the three segment there is, what are your top 5 Mazda production cars?
Oh, that's hard.
It's not your top 20.
I started somewhere in this podcast with I wanted one of everything.
Yeah. Well, you got to narrow it down.
There's more than 5.
You got to narrow it down to 5.
Top 5 that I would want as if I could only have 5 in a collection.
Only have 5 in a collection.
Okay.
Production cars.
Yep. L10A Cosmo.
Powerful start.
L10A Cosmo. I've not had one.
Yeah.
I'd love one.
You got a lazy 150 in your back pocket?
I don't. I've sat in one and I don't fit. I don't know.
You make yourself fit in that one though somehow.
The most uncomfortable, silly thing ever.
Yeah.
But I just love the story behind it and how cool it was. I was like, it was a production race car.
The story behind it.
Very cool car. Yeah. I've had the opportunity to look at the parts, pulled off them, and had a really good look at the parts with somebody who was restoring one or fixing one.
The only car with the race gearbox.
Race gearbox, had its own oil pump.
Oil pump, pumping it around. Yeah.
Amazing, you know. Yeah. So I'll pick an L10A Cosmo, not to be mistaken with the B. Short one.
Wheelbase.
Yeah, the rarest one, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. I'll go R100 coupe, not sedan.
Crazy.
Even though I think the sedan is rarer, obviously rarer.
The SS familiar.
Yes, which I would love one day, but I'll go with an R100 coupe. I'll go RX2 or 3 sedan. I'm going back to that other question. I'll go.
Well, it would have to be RX3, wouldn't it? You already picked it.
Yeah. So RX2 sedan, RX3 sedan.
There we go, covering all bases.
And a road pacer.
A road pacer.
There you go. So we're going to go L10A Cosmo, R100 coupe.
Yeah.
RX2 sedan, RX3 sedan, road pacer. That's it.
Pretty hard to fault that lineup, eh?
All ported.
Yeah.
All ported, all worked, nothing stock.
Nothing stock.
Nothing stock. I don't want
the purists out there are cringing.
I don't want any of them stock.
So you got a ported L10A.
I've got a ported L10A.
10A PP or something crazy like
that.
There we'll go. We'll go with that.
Turboed.
All right. All right. Well, in closing here, I think we'll wrap things up, eh?
Yeah, good.
Before we wrap this up, if any viewers have any Mazda Rotary related questions they would like us to answer in future podcasts, please reach out to us on our website or comment below. We'll pick someone from the questions and send them a hoodie hat combo. This is the hoodie right here, and these are the hats. This shout out to Smugs there. We call him the Rotary Picasso from New Zealand. He designs these just amazing hoodies, Smugs. So shout out to you, buddy, for the sick merch. And we'll be including a hat and a hoodie for anyone when we pick a question that we choose. And where can people find you online, man?
You can Google me.
Yeah.
AUSCAN Industries. We've got our own page.
Yeah.
This is just email. You can send me an email, requests, questions, anything you like.
AUSCAN Industries right here.
Yeah. So I'll get back to them on an email.
Right in front of the Sachs engine.
Yeah, the Sachs single rotor. Yeah.
E-shaft.
Yeah.
And the
rotor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So send me an email on AUSCANindustries.com. Or you can go on a Facebook page. So I've got a Facebook page, Canada Rotary, which is just a public page. It's not a business page or anything like that.
Aussies and Kiwis, that page.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. But, there's a bunch of people that
people
follow.
are on that at the moment?
10,
12, 15?
Maybe not that many. Maybe 8 or 9, something like that. But 8 or 9,000.
Yeah.
Maybe 7,000. But anyway, lots of people on there. You can send me a message on Facebook. My number's on all my business cards. My number's online. You can ring me. And same thing. We'll send you parts all around the world. Welcome to come and pick them up. We've got a bunch of cars to pick parts off yourself or be present when I'm picking them off. But they can find me online just by Googling or get on Facebook, Canada Rotary.
Well, mate, you've absolutely smashed it.
Thanks.
Good on you.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks very much for coming on the show. We'll definitely have to do it again sometime.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Appreciate it.